Hey, good morning, everybody. It's another day. It's Friday. I hope everybody. It's one of those days. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, let's lower that music down. Let's get ready. Today's conversation, yesterday we had a conversation on the, today's 2 pages of notes. 5 pages. Today, yesterday was the velocity of words. How fast can your words sink, settle in with somebody? How fast can they help people make a decision? See, that's what your words do. People want to make a decision, and people are looking for 2 things. What are the 2 things people are looking for? One, is their brain going to do what it's designed to do, what it's wired to do? Think that what you're about to offer them is going to hurt them, is going to kill them. That's the way the brain works. First thing it does is, will this kill me? If it doesn't do that, it'll then say, how fast could I recognize the pattern? So if you're about to show somebody, have a conversation with somebody, explain to somebody that your process is unique, which means it's special, which means it has you. Of course, it's unique, which it means that it's going to produce results that maybe they haven't had before. That's something new. That's something different. And all of this different, all of this new, all of this ability to not be able to say, oh, this is just like that, causes the brain to go into a little bit of a panic mode. It shuts down the prefrontal cortex. It says, I can't pay attention to this, and I've got to try to figure out how fast can I make this look like something else that I've used that doesn't work. That's literally what the brain is doing by design, right? The brain does not like to have you thinking. It consumes 20% of the body's resources, and therefore, when you start to go thinking and moving and creating, the challenge is that it doesn't see it. It doesn't see it. It doesn't want to see it. So today, the conversation is going to be about the psychology of presence. So last time we trained, the conversation was velocity of words, energy, clarity, and alignment behind what you say in a sales conversation. There's a deeper truth. Your words are only working if they land in the right field. That's important. See, I can play tennis. I can hit the ball over the net. Do I hit it in the right spot? I can serve. Do I serve into the right spot on the field? Not always. I'm not a good server, but if serving only required me to hit the ball over the net, regardless of which box I hit it in, I would be a great server. But I'm not a good server because I don't hit it into the right field. I don't hit it into the right space. And here's the reality. Your words are landing. They're landing out in a field that your prospect isn't even in. And that's the challenge. So your message has no power if the moment before you speak it is off. Let me say that again. Your message has 0 power, 0 influence if the moment before you speak is off. If your energy is rushed, hesitant, or ungrounded, the best script in the world will feel like static to your prospect. So today we're going to go underneath the words. We're getting into the pre-frame, the unspoken presence that actually determines whether people listen, whether they trust, or whether they engage. Because in sales, you don't start at the hello. You start when you enter the room. When you show up here, people are making judgments based upon if your camera's on, if they see you, right? If your camera's not on, maybe they make assumptions that you're having the same kind of day that they're having. I don't need your camera on. I'm saying when you go into other rooms, right? People buy your energy before they ever evaluate your offer. They buy your state. They buy your calm. They buy your clarity. This is the bridge between nervous hustle and quiet influence. Not about being loud. It's about being still in the right way. So today, the conversation is called Presence Before Pitch. Why people buy energy first. So before they believe your words, they believe your signal. This is important. Before they believe your words, they believe your signal. This training is about what happens when that space, when you're sitting with the prospect before you open your mouth. It's about the felt sense that precedes language and how that sets the tone for everything that follows in the sales conversation. So we spend a lot of time, right? 7% are the words, 7% are the words. 93% of what you're about to go do, present, pitch, sell, transfer, is everything other than the words. 93%. If I were to ask you, what's the average conversion ratio of somebody when they do a cold market? Cold market sales, the conversion ratio is about 3%. About 3%. Now, understanding that, what makes a cold market? Somebody that doesn't know you, like you, and trust you. Those are the three things, right? Know you, like you, trust you. That's who people do business with. So how fast can you warm up your market? How fast can you get them to like you, know you, and trust you? 93% of it is not the word you're about to say. It's about your energy. It's about that thing before you open your cake hole and start pitching. The sale starts before the script. People are constantly scanning for safety. How many of us have ever been at a restaurant and plates fell, with whether it be one or somebody dropped a glass and there was just a little jump in your body? Why would you jump? You're in a restaurant, you're in a safe place, you're all of this stuff. Why would you jump? And then most people do what after they hear plates crash? They start clapping. Why would you jump? Because your brain is on the continuous, constant alert for anything that could harm you or hurt you. Now, you may not be dropping plates when you do a presentation. I can promise you, your prospect is scanning for something that could cause them to be unsafe. It won't be plates. It'll be a feeling. It'll be words. Maybe it'll be the presence you have when you first show up. Do you appear to be a threat? Do you appear to be not listening? Do you appear to be overpowering? Do you appear to be dominant? Does your voice come across as aggressive? All of this is before you open your mouth. Do you smile? How often do you smile? If you were to count the last presentation, how many smiles you had in your last presentation, what would the number be? I promise you 99% of the people do not know how many times they smile in their presentation. See, professional speakers, I was taught by Bill Gove, the father of public speaking, and Steve Siebold, his partner. One of the things in professional speaking, we're taught, be a puppet, never let them see the strings. So people are constantly scanning for safety. They're scanning for leadership. Do you appear as a leader? Are you somebody worth following? Do you engage in such a level that says, it's okay, I'm going places. If you'd like to go, you're more than welcome to join. Do you scan for alignment? Are you in tune, in tone, in touch with the message that you have? So much so that Jim Carrey said, be so good, you can't fail. Be so good, you can't fail. Be so good, they can't ignore you. The way you enter a room, virtually or physically, determines how your words will be received. Today, we shift the focus from what you say to how you show up. So write this down. Presence equals pre-trust. People want to trust you. And when they say, I don't really think this is for me, what they're saying is I don't trust what you have is for me. They're not saying that's not for me. What they're saying is I don't trust you that this is truly for me. But they'll just say, hey, I don't think this is for me. I just don't see it. It doesn't feel right, doesn't fit right. People make subconscious decisions in the first 3 to 5 seconds. 3 to 5 seconds, they make subconscious decisions. They're asking, am I safe? Are you congruent? Can I relax? You may want to write those down. This is what's going on in their mind. So you have to ask in your presentation, can someone feel safe? Am I congruent in my message to them? And can they relax? If you keep them on edge, if you push them and poke them and prod them in a way that's uncomfortable, that they can't relax, you're done. Your sales are going to be off. Presence communicates leadership before content is ever delivered. Your presence communicates leadership before content is ever delivered. Listen carefully. Here's a quote you might want to write down. The body listens before the brain does. Your body listens to what's about to be said, feels it, interprets it, gets the all of the energy and the frequency and the vibration long before your brain makes a decision. It's the way we're designed. Will this kill me, or how fast can I recognize the pattern? So part 4 is the 4 elements determine your presence before the pitch. These 4 elements determine your presence before the pitch. Posture. What's your posture like? Is it upright? Is it grounded? Not rigid? Do you occupy space calmly? That one is a difficult one for most people. Most people do not occupy space calmly. Well, what does that look like? Can you sit with such unaffected? Are you sitting there with, I got to get this right. I wonder if I need them. I need 2 more people. I need 3 more people. I just need 1 more. It's the end of the month. What am I going to do? Oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. If that's going through your head, you are not grounded. You are not occupying space calmly. So 1 is posture. 2 is eye contact. Is it soft? Is it engaged? Non-dominant? How many of you pay attention to your eye contact? How long do you hold eye contact? Are you constantly just staring at them? When do you give them a break? They may be staring at the camera all the time. They may not be because you're constantly there. There's no pressure release for them. It's about 6 seconds. Every 6 seconds, you may want to break, unless you're making a point. Even then, you may want to give some space. How about your breath? How's your breathing? Do you realize that you can see somebody breathing? And if you're not aware of it, your subconscious is aware of it. Long breaths, long exhales signal safety. Long exhales signal safety. Right? And stillness, a strategic pause before speaking, lets you claim space energetically. How many of you can sit in silence? How many of you can hold a pause? We call it in public speaking. What do we call it? The pregnant pause. The one that's just a little longer than most people are comfortable with. You need to claim your space energetically. And putting a pause in there gives you that. So here's signal scans. This is what we do. This is what they do. This is what everybody does. What they feel instantly. They feel tension in your voice, and tension in your voice equals uncertainty. Shallow breaths, it's rushing or fear. Darting eyes, right? Darting eyes, avoidance or pressure. And fidgeting, low trust in the message. The challenge with learning these is the fact that you're going to pick it up on everybody else who's talking now. You'll be amazed that when you start to work on yourself, you'll see where others are may have some room to work on themselves as well, right? So ask yourself, when you greet someone, what if the next time you were to greet somebody, you were to greet them silently? And have the other person describe what they felt before any words were exchanged. I can promise you, if you go to somebody you know and you just greet them silently, give them a hug, put your hands on their shoulders, grab their hands, just hold their hands, and just look at them. They're gonna think you've gone round the bend. What happens when you just sit down with somebody? You sit down at a table, and before you speak any words, you greet them silently. It would be one of the most awkward things. It would also be one of the more memorable conversations they've had. Not the awkward silence, the fact that it was done in silence just for 5 seconds. People don't like silence. People aren't paying attention. People are, there's got to be something always going on. We got to fill it, right? They say that a goldfish has the attention span of 10 seconds, and we now have an attention span of 6. So a goldfish can have more presence than us. Kind of crazy. So write this down. Presence replaces explanation. Your presence replaces explanation. The stronger your presence, the fewer the words you need. It's why I'm in a space now, in a place now. If I sit down with somebody and they're looking to use my services or products, I ask them, hey, so great to be here. Hey, listen, as we get started, can I ask you a very simple question? How would you like to get started? They may say, I'm ready to buy. They may say, show me what's next. They'll give me the direction. My daddy always said, let them buy. If you're talking, you're telling them how not to buy, because you're giving them excuses when you talk. You're giving them things they can argue with. Let them show you. My daddy said the only reason you give a presentation is so they can show you, tell you how they want to get started. challenge is your presentation doesn't let them do that. So I cut to the chase. So how would you like to get started? If they've done their research, they're going to say, well, I want to get the package. I know which package to get. Awesome. Well, I thought you were going to tell me about your business. What part of my business would you like to know about first? See, the challenge is that most people have no space, have no depth in their presentation so that they can have a dialogue about any part of the presentation. You haven't learned it well enough. You haven't objected yourself more than enough to be able to say, if somebody says, well, tell me about X, and you thought, oh, I only know about, I only know like up to F, A, B, C, D, E, F. I haven't studied G, H, I, X, L, M, N, O, P. Presence acts like gravity. It pulls people into your field. You did your marketing. You got in touch with them. They got in touch with you. You've set an appointment. And now the question is whose gravity is going to be stronger? Yours or theirs? If you get pulled into their world, AKA objections, if their objections are strong, have more gravity than your presence, I'd say they're a better salesperson. Oh, but they're going to have objections. Sure. Why not? Objections are awesome. In true professional sales, the sale doesn't start until the first no. And here's the thing that I teach as well. You can never have a yes unless there's a no that can go right along with it. If there's no chance for a no, the yes will never last. So presence acts like gravity. It pulls people into your field. So how strong is your gravity? If you're always asking, what do I do? What do I say? How do I do it? There's a thing about learning. There's another thing about practicing. When people feel your confidence and calm, what do you think they do? Do they back away or do they lean in? Your certainty lets them borrow belief. Isn't that what your prospect needs? Belief in themselves. And if your certainty isn't there, they can't borrow the belief. They can't. What do we always say? Use my belief in you until you have yours. I have more than enough belief in you as you build your own belief. And how do you gain your belief? Through practice, through trial and error, practice and trial and error, and getting better. The challenge is that your belief, listen carefully, your belief is going to change your identity. Think about that for just a moment. Feel that in your bones for just a moment. You're about to have a conversation with somebody to help them use your product, use your service, use your techniques, your tools. They didn't believe they could use those. And once they become adept at using them, these tools, these services, selling these tools, these services, they didn't believe that your product was sellable. They believe it was buyable. They could buy it. They didn't know how to sell it. Jim Rohn says there takes a lot. There's a big difference between knowing enough about something to buy it and knowing enough about something to sell it. See, you bought it. You bought the service. You bought the product. You bought the tool, the online deal. The challenge is you don't know enough how to sell the deal. And that's why people struggle. In the beginning, It's called ignorance on fire. People are truly in sales. They sell the enthusiasm. Zig said sales is a transference of enthusiasm. Oh my gosh, I found this thing. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, if that's got you so excited, let me get started. Well, what is it? I don't really know about what it is. I know it did this, 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 and this. And they get excited. And then the challenge is their sales go way down as soon as they become educated. And now they think they're in the education business. You are not. You are in the transference of energy, enthusiasm business. And if your sales aren't that good, your enthusiasm ain't that good. It's just a direct corollary. So do you have enough certainty to allow them to borrow some for their own belief? Okay, let's keep going. There's a shift from when you're seeking energy to having your sovereign energy. Seeking energy is desperate, rushed, hoping to prove something, hoping to prove to someone or to get recognition from, hoping something happens so that you don't get in trouble. You don't feel behind. You don't feel left behind. That's seeking energy. Sovereign energy is grounded, open, unattached to the outcome. Here's the difference. Here's the reframe. I'm not here to get something from you. I'm here to offer something for you. I know it sounds simple, yet when we get into the presentation mode, when we get slapped and put on stage and put up in front, and we got to talk to somebody, we got to DM somebody, we got to reach out to somebody, that puts us in center stage. We default back to the most fundamental core memories, our default mode network, and we wind up sometimes acting like a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, cuckoo cuckoo. We act a little cuckoo. I'm not here to get something from you. I'm here to offer something for you. So sometimes I'll ask, so why are we here? Well, you want me to join your business? No, that's not the case. That's easy. That's so easy to get you to join my business, because you could write a check right now and you could cancel in 30 days. See, it's not about getting you to join my business. It's about you finding something that will serve you and your family from now until forever. Be it the experiences, the connections, the results of the product, the tools, the techniques, whatever it is. Are you open to receiving something you haven't had before? Most of the times their eyes go, what are you talking about? Well, wouldn't it make sense if you were going to look at a business or a product that you got a benefit you've never had before? Otherwise, we selling commodities. It should be based on price. If you're already using toilet paper and I'm selling toilet paper, it better be cheaper, right? It better be more cost effective. You got to get more value than the toilet paper you're currently using, right? That's commodity. I don't sell commodity. I don't sell price. I sell value to you, the consumer. So are you ready for more? What are we talking about? See, they can't even sometimes comprehend that dialogue. Oh, it may look like it's a service that somebody else provides, or a product somebody else may have, or something similar, or a technique or an online service that you're aware of. It's not a commodity. It's a unique value-added service that's been provided by my company's founder and their organization, the management team, to give you an experience you've never had before. Are you open to listening and hearing that? Isn't that the truth? Not one of you could disagree with that your product is unique. And there's a lot out there that people will say they're like yours, but they're not like yours. One, they don't have you. You are the reason people buy. People buy people, they don't buy product. So, can you walk into a room, right? Practice silent leadership. Can you walk into a room or a virtual call with intention? Who's that? First, with nervous, needy energy. Could you walk in with nervous and needy energy? And then the next time, could you walk in with a slow breath? Could you show up with slow breath, grounded pace, and still presence? See if the people in the room recognize the difference. You'll be surprised how fast people could pick up on that. And the reason that you would want to do it is so that you can show them that it's also happening to them, yet they're not aware of it. So now what we've covered with these two trainings, right? Velocity of words and now the psychology of presence. It isn't just about sales, it's about human influence. We all want to be influencers, but do you want to be an influencer over an algorithm or an influencer over people? So if you want to be an influencer over people, not because you figured out how to get the algorithm and put your butt in front of more faces, because you were able to manipulate the algorithm, what if you influenced human beings? It's about how to move the world around you with clarity and with an intention, and not noise and not force. Velocity of words taught you that your words carry momentum. The video that worked for me was this 2-minute video. It's on YouTube. Company in China, one of their consultants in Utah saw it, said, you might want to check this guy out. They watched the video and they said, we want him. They said, but you don't know how much he charges. They said, we don't care. We're in a spot right now that's been a theme for our company. We want him. And they wound up spending about $60,000, $70,000 to get me there. I didn't get all that money between the airfare and the trips and the hotels and all of that stuff that they paid, and the 3 translators that were with me 24/7. So all that to say was, and the name of the video was Conversations Create Momentum. How's your business right now? If you don't have momentum, I can promise you, you're not having conversations. So velocity of words taught you that your words carry momentum only when they're clean, only when they're clear, and only when they're congruent. And then presence before the pitch, what we just did today, showed you that your energy is the first message people receive, often before you've even spoken. So together, these form the core mechanics of sales leadership. Presence earns trust before the pitch, and velocity moves the conversation forward once trust is in place. As you master both of these, you stop convincing and you start enrolling. You stop pushing and you start pulling, because people don't want to be sold. They want to feel safe, seen, and guided. And that only happens when your energy and your words are aligned. So, I'm curious. Where do I ask yourself these questions? Where do I leak the most energy? In my presence or in my words? Where do I leak energy that can't transfer to my prospect, that can't transfer to my audience? Where do I wind up being off? In my presence or in my words? What's one small ritual I can practice daily to ground my energy before I speak? Most people have a pre-speaking ritual to raise their energy. If you've ever seen Tony Robbins, he's usually on a rebounder and he does these couple of bounces. He smacks his chest and he gets excited, and that is a ritual that he puts that allows him to step into state no matter what. The most powerful sales tool you'll ever develop is your regulated nervous system, your clear message, your aligned presence. Master these and sales gets lighter, because people feel you before they follow you. You may want to write that down. People feel you before they follow you. So there you go. Questions, comments, thoughts, takeaways. What'd you learn? What'd you like? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Takeaways. What'd you learn? What'd you like? Good morning, AJ.
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
Outstanding.
Hey, here's a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I am aware that this is a strategy question. When it comes down to sales or just prospecting, just going out there talking with people, you want to leave a good first impression. In my experience so far, especially as I visited the Dreamland this year, I noticed that everyone that I've spoken with that has some shekels in their back pocket, I noticed that those people are very well spoken, and you are extremely well spoken. So my question is, what would be a practice to kind of get more sophisticated in your language? Because I know that you told me when we had our one-on-one that one of the biggest things I've achieved this year is that I've elevated my language. I want to elevate it further. What would I do to do that?
Be aware of the throwaway comments.
Okay.
And the throwaway comments are the things we say repetitively. Well, whatnot and whatever. Because all too often, because of who you are, where you are, when you are, with who you are around, you are constantly being targeted for your success. Consciously, unconsciously, subconsciously, verbally, visually, right? There's things that you do, and there's things that you're aware of that you are superseding those around you. Fair statement?
Yes, sir.
So what happens then is we have a tendency in our conversations to take the pressure off of them. And we do that with, well, whatever, this, that, whatever, whatnot, and so on and so forth. Usually I'm taking the pressure off when I'm saying cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Why? Because it's putting laughter into the room.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're going to have a throwaway, don't have a throwaway that gets thrown away. Have a throwaway that adds more to the conversation. And the way you add more to the conversation is you upgrade their energy. Laughter upgrades their energy. Taking the pressure out of the room upgrades their energy. Now, there's times to add pressure in the room. I do that because it's usually preceded by, I love you, right? So I would offer you, when you have your throwaway comments, don't let them be thrown away. Become fully aware of those things you use to relieve the pressure, to alter the statement, to alter the energy, to change the direction of the conversation. What you'll find is, instead of throwing it away, this, that, or the other, find the common enemy to blame in the room. My mentor would say, or That's one of those, this is one of those moments where we have a fork in the road to choose. Become aware of those moments where your transitional conversation, are you transitioning them up, down? Because there's no way you can stay the same because of the information that was just exchanged. It altered their life. The people, the kids that went with you, I say kids, the friends that went with you to the restaurant, the steakhouse, where they were walking into the atrium or into the portico, the portiche, and they're like, oh my gosh, that changed their life. And yet, because you've been there 100 times or a dozen times or whatever, however many times it is, you knew there was more coming. You knew there was better coming. Sometimes we just have to let them sit in the outside chair because that is what that has overwhelmed their senses beyond anything. And they may not be able to see anything else beyond that. As we elevate people, we have to allow them, as they climb the mountain, to stand around and take a look. And that's what a silence does. That's what a pause does. That's what a check-in does. How you feeling right now? Feeling pretty good. I'm a little a little nervous. I didn't know we'd get this high this fast. It's okay. Take a breath. You're watching for the micro expressions. That's one of the things when I did the presentation a week ago, Saturday, with Christina and her amazing community. A couple of people sent her some messages that she was kind enough to forward to me saying, I don't know how he sees everything, from people swallowing to their eyes to their, and this was on Zoom. I wasn't in front of 291 people. I can only imagine the energy that would have, I know how much energy was in the room just being through the digital screen. I can't imagine the powerhouse of energy having had it been a live event in person. Yet it's easy enough to pay attention. Right? It's easy enough to pay attention to see all of those micro expressions. See, I'm looking at you. When I'm looking up here, I'm watching you guys. I'm not disappearing from you, but when you speak, I want to see you. I want to watch you on screen because who you are speaks so loud. I don't always need to hear what you're saying. So what I would offer you in elevating your words is pay attention to ums. You don't do that anymore. Ahs, or like this. Mason pays me a lot of money because he says the likes.
Oh yeah, I hate people that say,
Right there. Take that word out of your vocabulary.
HATE.
Yeah, take that word out. So if you ask me, if you were my private student, I'd say, don't ever say that word again. I find it fascinating because if you say HATE, I don't even know how to spell it. That puts a vibration into you. Do you realize that if you have a scare, a boo, right? And I scare you, and if you send any adrenaline into your body, do you know what happens to your immune system when you get one little pump jolt of adrenaline from a scare, somebody plates falling, you jump. That little jump, do you know how long your immune system shut down for? Shut down, not weakened, shut down. 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
4 hours you are susceptible to colds, to viruses, to everything. And if your body's already weak and you are nervous and you get scared and you get jolted, your immune system shuts down. Do you know how long a teaspoonful of sugar shuts down the immune system? And there's 11 teaspoons in a Coke. We wonder why kids are sick today. So my point is use the words that are elevating words for yourself. You say the word HATE, man, that's the equivalent to me. That's the equivalent of shutting your immune system down for 4 hours.
Oh, so you think you're smart now? Okay. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Thank you.
I know.
I am doing good work on elevating language and elevating impressions with people. So in terms of, I would go to the lake, there's the staff, I greet them individually, everyone, and then I notice something
So here's a
strange.
question. So here's a question. Do I have your
Yes,
permission to
sir.
hope?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you greet them so you feel good, or do you greet them that they feel good so you feel good? Or do you greet them so they feel good?
Ooh, I kind of do all of the above, I'd say.
Yeah. What if you could meet them and make sure they feel good? Because why would you ever meet somebody to feel good? Pay attention to this. This is Paul Harvey, the rest of the story. How could you meeting somebody make you feel any better? It means you're not in control of who you are. You're not outstanding. How could you show up to somebody hoping you get something if you're there to give? You can never show up to get something from somebody if you're not already taking care of yourself. If you're taking care of yourself, all you have is to give. A lot of times people will show up and they'll have a greeting so that they can be greeted because they lack their own personal fortitude. They are in lack. And if you show up at a presentation and say, hey, hi, how are you? And you're hoping they ask you back, or there's something that you go, I need from them, I want from them. That sets the presence of the whole presentation, of the whole conversation that's spoken without words, that says you're taking from it. And it's all happening without a single dialogue, a single audible being spoken. It's why I do so well in Latin countries. It's just it's a skill, it's a talent. It's not a technique, it's something I learned because the American on the white horse shows up. They have such a belief that they're going to be told what to do. I only learned this after being in country for a while. I ask, why do you like me? There's women that who would never spend time uh, recognizing the male leader in their community, and they said it's just from the moment we saw you, we all talked about it. We're all talking about it in the audience. We're not even paying attention to you talking. There's just something that you have. There's this giving that every time we can look at you, every time we can be around you, every time you speak, we are constantly receiving. And we all felt it, but we started talking about it, going, how does he do this? And then after knowing you, they say, it's not a how, it's a why. Why would you do this? Because you truly care about us. Well, I'm glad you figured it out. And so that's the thing. Can you truly care about somebody and give them everything you have because you truly understand abundance? And this is youth, right? My 60 years is different than your 24 years, right? So if you learn this skill now, Katie bar the door. Listen, there's a lot of things you do that you're an unconscious competent. You don't even know you do them well. This one, if you work on this well now, I promise you, that where the world is going in this isolation and insulation that people are feeling, and this people feel connected with a text versus a conversation. People are not going to know how to converse. You with this energy and understanding how to maximize your abundance is going to be game changing in your world. It's a guess on my part.
Well, Sean Gerard Murphy, if I do have uh if I do have the opportunity to tell the rest of the story from this point of view.
Go ahead.
So what happens is, for example, just with the lake, as I go there every day, I
Yeah.
greet the staff, everybody individually.
Hang on. Did you hear? Listen, I'm picking on you, but I'm picking on you because you asked me to help sharpen your saw.
Yes,
How
sir.
many of you heard? How many of you heard when he said, "I go to the lake"? How many of you heard the energy drop off? drop a 1 in the chat. If you heard the energy, drop, well, I go there every day. You downplayed it. It didn't sound exciting at all. It sounded like it was a burden. Do you see in the chat what everybody's hearing? Now, did I lead them? I kind of did, but what I wanted them to hear is it actually, well, when I go to the lake, because I go there every day. Did you hear it?
If you can just give me 1 second, I'm trying to get the knives away from my back. Trying to pick up the knives.
I gotta get a transfusion.
From my back right here. Just give me a second.
I'm serious. So the way you elevate is, when I go to the lake, and I get to go there every day. Fall in love with it. You do, but this is you. This is your subconscious going, well, I don't want to sound like an ass. Who gets to go to the lake every day? That's an old story. Nobody gets to go to the lake every day. Very few. There's like one other person, and they don't even go every day. I get to go. Do you know how blessed I am? I get to go to the lake every day. Because here's the thing. If you were in a conversation and you're like, are you going to dissect every word? Only because you said, I want to elevate my language. So imagine you were on a conference call with all of your peers. And somebody was listening there and saying, I want him to mentor me. It could be that, and I get to go to the lake. Oh, wow, I thought the lake would be fun. He doesn't really like going to the lake. Maybe I need to shift my focus on somebody else. You don't have to go, oh, suckers, losers. I go to the lake every day. But
yeah.
Don't minimize your success, brother. I got sheep. Who the frick wants sheep? I got sheep. I'm gonna get off this call. I'm gonna go walk up into the pen, and I'm gonna kneel down, and Anora's gonna be the first one coming running over to see me. And then Teddy's gonna be next, and he's gonna headbutt me a little bit because he's getting older and he wants his attention. And then Ainsley, who used to be never come around, now she's like right there. And then Amelia will come, and then Axel usually shows up because his sister Anora is there. Who the frick wants? Who would like to go with me to the field to go meet sheep? Oh, I gotta go up and feed the sheep after this. So go ahead. I'll let you finish your story now, and I'll do my best to keep quiet.
Third time's the charm, I guess. And out of all people, my neighbor, Lewis, draw the first one out there. I'm not gonna forget this, Luis. I'm just kidding. So I get to go to the lake every day. I get to greet the staff.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this one interesting thing, which maybe goes to prove that I don't do that specifically for me. I could be doing that for them. And the reason is, in that conversation that I have with each and every one of them, no matter if it's 2 of them, 3, 4, 5 of them on the weekends, the amount of, let's say, comments or just the amount of energy that goes from me to them versus vice versa is huge.
Right.
Because they have, for example, they have 2 girls, one is a barista, one is a waitress. I'd go out there, I tell them, oh, you look like $1 million today. Look at your, what did you do with your nails? Look at this, look at that. And then they usually say, oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. And then that's it. And I'm completely cool with that. I go to the guys section, right? I tell them whatever I tell them. And it's usually, like I said, if this makes sense, it's usually the amount of energy that goes from me to them versus vice versa. It's huge in my favor, which in return makes them feel a lot better coming out of that interaction than me. Not to say that I don't feel good.
Right.
I do.
Yep.
It's just that they feel refreshed, if
right.
that makes sense. So that's kind of what I was aiming for.
Okay. So what did they have to give you?
Nothing.
Okay. That's where the problem is.
I just got to serve my drink, I guess. I don't know.
So what do most people like to give or receive?
Receive, I'd say.
Nobody likes
No?
to receive. Uh-uh.
Give? Oh, all right. I like to
Here's the
receive.
thing. And so servers, what do?
They give. They serve.
So they don't know how to receive. Now they expect tips, probably not in Europe as much, but here in
Oh, they
the
do.
okay, good. So
Oh,
they
they do.
expect that. Do you understand? Have you ever shared with them the idea of what tip in the English version of tip, what it stands for?
Yep, to ensure proper service.
Have you ever shared that with them?
Did not.
Yeah. So here's the thing. You have to give them a chance to give to you. You want to really make them feel good, is let them make you feel good. The fact that they feel good, that's awesome. What do they do with that? They don't know what to do with that. You look like $1,000,000. Okay, great. Now what? What do I tell you? I'm not going to tell you you look like $1,000,000. You have more money and more patience, more time and more freedom than I ever have. Wow. What's the thing that's going to say if you tell them they look like $1,000,000, what's going on in their head? Especially the girls.
That they don't. Yeah, they. Oh, I never saw that. Never actually. Let me rephrase that. I never had the intention to make them feel bad with a compliment, and
I
then
know you don't,
realize,
and nobody ever does.
yeah,
And they probably, because it's you and the story they have about you, that you're there, and the story they talk about you in the back, right? Um, Steve Jobs said, "Your brand is what people say about you when you leave the room." So they have a story about you when you leave their room, when you leave their presence. So what if you were to ask them? What if you were to get them excited about what's your word for the day? Ooh, I love that. That's a big, powerful word. Anything I can do to help you with that? They gave you something that you can go to work on. How could you be of service to them? How could you provide them value they didn't know they could get from you? One of the things I say to servers is that, hey, listen, we work in this business where we deal with people who are sometimes a little cuckoo. So for all those that might forget to say thank you, can I say a thank you for all of them? Aw, thank you for that. It's to get, I want my world. I am so peculiar about the energy that exists in my world that I am going to do whatever I can to ensure that my world operates at a whole higher frequency than anyone else's world. Not because theirs can't, because they don't make it happen. And it's so easy. I don't have to compete with anybody to ensure my world is operating with everybody around it, everybody in it at the highest possible frequency. So I do it very selfishly. And the way that I know I can be very selfish is to give abundantly to those in my world so they can have a better vibration. Ask them what their word is for the day. Nobody's ever asked them that. I promise you. I would bet there's a 1 in 1,000 chance. There's a chance, but 1 in 1,000 that somebody's ever asked them, hey, what's your word for today or for this week, for the weekend? What do you mean, my word? What's the word? If you were to pick the energy you would want to exist in for the next 24 hours, what would that energy be? And whatever they say, your response is, that's a powerful word. Is there anything I can do to make sure when we're together, you're in that world? And what you may find is that their brain will say, well, I think you already did. So how do you give them everything you got? Because soon as you step away from that, you can replenish and you have an abundance of skills and talents. And you could step from talking to the servers and the waiters and waitresses into a business meeting with somebody else instantly. Most people have to stumble through the transition. You don't. So go there with what could they give? What can I give them that they would want to give back tenfold? And that's their energy. How do you keep them in such a state that they don't forget how special they are, how powerful they are, how much presence they are? When I talk to customer service people, when I talk to people who they've screwed up, the company's screwed up, and I could be a real jackrabbit, but you get more with sugar than you do with vinegar. I'll usually say, they go, is there anything else? I say, listen, I just need you to know you don't have the easiest job in the world dealing in customer service. And I bet there's days where you wish maybe, you were a firefighter on an oil well or something, or out in the middle of the ocean, because I bet it can get a little hairy. I just need you to know. I don't know if there's a place I can leave a comment, or I can give you a recommendation, or give you a survey, because they got the right person in the right job. And I'm just glad I got to speak to you today. And you'll always hear, oh, wow, I needed that today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then, because of the forced law of reciprocity, yes, I do it with the intent to serve, but I also know the forced law of reciprocity. I got to use it for good. They're going to wind up doing something that they have the power to do that doesn't take any power away from them. They'll fix something, they'll send something out, no charge for shipping. They feel like they got to do something. That's not the intent. I do know that's the result. Does that help?
That helps being sneaky. And I know that if the carrot doesn't work, you gotta give him the stick.
Ah.
I'm just kidding. It's great. It's
But here's
a
the
great
stick.
conversation.
Here's how I give the stick. What just transpired, I'm not sure is appropriate, because if I was your favorite cousin, not a cousin you don't like, a cousin you do like, that usually gets the laugh, takes the pressure off. If I was a cousin you did like, would that be the best solution you would offer to somebody you like, a cousin, a brother, a neighbor that you really like? And no is probably the answer, isn't it? Yes. Okay, awesome. Now, if you want to leave me with that, I'm okay with that. Totally understand. Just know that sets my understanding of your company. Because I don't care how multinational you are, you it, baby. You it. You're the whole company to me right now.
Yeah.
So
It never ceases to amaze me how fine the line is, if you know what I'm trying to say, how fine the line is between, I mean, just the example where you try to get the knife first in my back and then everybody followed. It's such a fine line, and you seem to dance on the line effortlessly. Never ceases to amaze me 5 years down the road. So I salute you for that, and I thank you for that.
well, and I'm going to throw this out so your subconscious understands this. Isn't it good that every time you come with a situation that I have a solution that seems to fit well into your world? Isn't that good? After 5 years, that there's never been a point to where it's like, shit, I don't know, you're gonna have to ask somebody else.
That's what happens when you are 6-0, Bubba. Thank you, thank you, thank
I
you.
love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, let's go to Silka. Good morning, Silka.
Good morning, Sean. How are you this morning?
Outstanding. And getting better.
You're what?
I'm outstanding and getting better. I've got my shirt on that says Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, well, I was wondering what that man was, but okay, that's very interesting. Sometimes you can get energy from people's clothing. This not so much, but sometimes you do wear some energetic clothing.
Yes.
So I, you know, some people, like you said, people will catch your energy within the first few seconds.
Uh-huh.
right? So, how, here's my question. Some
Sure.
people will always introduce themselves when they get on stage the same way.
Hmm.
Is that so people can recognize them even without seeing them? Or it's fun. I mean, sometimes it's funny. Like, for instance, John Maxwell, he will always get on there. He'll say, I'm John and I'm your friend. It's like, but I don't even know who you are. But he does this, he does this all the time. So is that just his trademark? So you can recognize this is this person? Or why is it why do people do it that way? I mean, he's probably not you always give a speech about, I mean, you don't just have a catchphrase.
Right.
You give a little bit more of a speech of, the poor boy from Ohio, or the farm the farm boy, excuse me, could have been very rich, not poor. It was a farm. The farm boy from Ohio that drove by the university, never stopped, and so on. So, what's the difference between giving like an entire monologue versus just giving the catchphrase like John? Does he think? I mean, it could be off putting to some people when he says, I'm your friend,
So
because
the reason he does that is that probably 90% of the people that are there showed up and feel like they'll never get a chance to talk to John, and John is this icon. And so he takes himself off that pedestal and says, I'm John Maxwell and I'm your friend.
yes, that's
And
so
so what that does is you got to understand that every word has a definition. And in English, friend means somebody who is a friend, is somebody that you can count on, somebody you could trust, somebody that you'll tell your deepest, darkest secrets to. A friend is a friend, somebody that you can count on when your back is up against a wall. So without saying
yes.
that, he says, I am, which is a statement, which activates your root chakra, which is your root chakra, which is your security and safety chakra, that allows you to say, okay, well, John's my friend. I can talk to him. I can listen to him as a friend. So it's a psychological statement that he knows that puts the majority of the audience in a place to where they take him off the pedestal. Now, he's still on the pedestal because he's on stage. He'll sit down next to his table with his computer and he'll be doing his stuff. The reason he sits down is he's a little older, but he sits down so that he's still at an elevated state. He sits down because it takes the pressure off. All of this is psychological.
Isn't he like 80 or something?
He's a dollar over 50. So yeah, I'm not sure his actual age.
But I find it okay. I find it insincere when he says, I'm your friend, because friends, I mean, people. It takes a while to make a friendship. I guess he thinks that people have read his books and people are there, the audience for him. Maybe that's why he's saying it, because if you're speaking to total strangers like that, it's kind of weird.
Well, again, that's your interpretation of it, and
Yes,
he
because Germans take everything very literal, where
absolutely.
Americans don't. Yes.
So if he would, so even if his goal when he says that is even to the people who don't know him, is to take their guard off, to say, if he says, if I said to you and I didn't know you, I'm your friend, and you took that back, I have to then perform as a friend would perform, so that you can go, oh, I guess he really meant he was my friend. That's the purpose of that presentation. So there's people that know him, I'm your friend, and people go, oh, this is like my 15th John Maxwell event I've been to. He's my friend. I get to call, say, John's my friend. He told me at the beginning he's my friend.
Yes.
Then there's people who this is their very first time, that in the brain, if he says, I'm your friend, okay, prove it. That's what we say, prove it. Or in marketing, we say, so what? So now the rest of the presentation, he has to offer you the value that a friend would offer you, so that you can confirm, you know what? That son of a bitch, he really is my friend. He
Son of a
gave me
bitch,
things.
did you just say
I
that?
didn't say that. I said, son of a bitch, you know that, right? So got your attention. the point is that that guy who wasn't my friend, who said he's my friend, who threatened me with friendship, because that's what it is. If you don't instantly take it, it's a threat, and you got to, okay, let's see. Easy there, cowboy. And then either prove or disprove. So it truly sets the stage that says, if you're my friend, you better do things that I qualify as friendship. And then he has to perform that in his presentation. So that's the reason he does it. If you're not my friend, I'm going to do everything that a friend would do to service you if you're in my event, because you're in to get more, right? To get better, to get to do things. And if you've been here before, it psychologically takes the pressure off and somebody literally leans in. I bet if you watch the audience when he says, I'm John Maxwell and I'm your friend, people lean in. You watch their body. You can, if you're standing at the side of the audience, I watch when speakers get on stage. People are like, why do you keep going out front all the time? I want to watch when they lean in and when they lean out, because as the MC of different events, what I will remember what they leaned in on, and I can instantly get all of that energy back in the room by repeating what they said. Doesn't have to be me being that good. I can get them to lean in based on what you said. That's called linking. And a true MC will link stuff versus every time they get up, it's there's nothing linked to anything that just happened or about to happen. They're there for themselves to present and do what they do and show off their skills. My skill is to take the energy in the room and keep it bottled up and bring that energy for the next one so that they can show up with energy in the room and not having to introduce themselves or spend 4 or 5 minutes. Having to win the audience over. I win the audience over for them by getting them to lean in, and then they show up. Hey, imagine if I came up to every time I introduced somebody at the ANP, and here's your next friend. You're like, I don't even know this guy.
No, that would be that would be
right. That would be
Yes.
annoying. Oh, he thinks I'm, and so it puts the defense up. Why do you think he's my friend? I don't even know him. Why do I even like him? I don't even like you anymore. You're not my friend, and they're not my friend. And then that screws up the whole thing. But most people don't understand that psychology of the words and the energy in the room.
Yes, and that, I mean, I've only seen him in person once, and I had never heard him say that. I mean, I didn't know he'd say that, and I'm like, oh, this is so weird. But so why is it you not using a phrase like that? Like, hi, I'm Sean. I mean, you could
I
say
don't know if I don't know if I want you as my friend.
no, I mean,
I'm saying when I'm in the audience.
I mean, he's just doing it. He's just, I mean, it's a catchphrase. People associate him with that, and people probably think, friend makes them feel good. I mean, he had to develop this at some point
Yep.
and used it because he uses it all the time.
Yep.
So why is it you're not teaching, for instance, all of us? To have a catchphrase like that whenever you get on stage, that you always say that.
Well, because many of you aren't on stage. If you want to learn public speaking, that's one of the things we teach. How do you open up a conversation? What is your key? You want the person in the audience who, if they've seen you before, right? So Scott Schilling has his opening catchphrase to create humor, because most people suck at telling jokes. So he says, hey, listen, if you've heard me before, raise your hand. And if this is the first time you've heard me, raise your hand. Everybody's hand should be up in the room, right?
Yes.
And then he says, look around, look how many people have heard me or haven't heard me. And everybody's like, oh. So it brings them into the focus. When you get people to do something physically, in the moment, they got to activate their prefrontal cortex, which brings them into the moment. My key on stage for anybody who's ever seen me is if I'm saying, okay, everybody, let's get started. Let's hear on 3. I want to hear how amazing and exciting you are. 1, 2, 3, and it goes and I usually look at my watch, and that's my trademark. I'll look at my watch, and people, if they've seen me before, are like, they start laughing because they realize, listen, I'm here till Tuesday. That's my response. I'm here till Tuesday. I don't care how long it takes. We're going to get some energy in this room. They said, Murph, go get the energy. We got till Tuesday. When do you guys leave? Ready to do it again? 1, 2, 3. And that's when they bring the energy, right? It's rather than going, well, that sucked. I'll usually look at my watch, and I won't even be wearing a watch. And so
You won't even be wearing your watch.
no. So when I go out to the stage the second
Oh
time
my God.
and they screw up, I go, and that you could hear the giggles in the room. You know what time it is? Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3. So those are we all have our trademarks based upon what it is we're required to do. Now, if I'm speaking, I wouldn't do that because I'm not the guy that's the MC required to bring the energy. If I'm hired as a keynote speech, I'll do things differently when I walk out on stage.
Oh, that's interesting. So you change things, but John Maxwell doesn't. He says
Well,
the
no,
same
but he's
thing.
not. If he showed up as he doesn't show up as an MC. What I'm saying is that if my title is the MC, meaning link energy from the previous presenter to the next presenter, that's different than showing up as a keynote speech. When I went down to Ecuador to speak, it's Latinos. One of the
Yes,
things,
I've been there.
right. So when I showed up on stage in front of 5,000 chair standing, crazy lunatic Latinos, one of the things I asked is, which country are you from? So this is in my pre-planning. Which countries are you from? I knew there was 13 countries that were there. I said, there's one more country that we're supposed to be that I didn't hear anybody mention. And they're like, what country? I go, what country didn't? There's one country here that everybody's a part of and nobody said it. And they're like, what? And I ran to the side and I got one of the fusion flags, one of the girls who carries the fusion flags on stage, right? In Latina, they have these beautiful women, like ring girls who walk out. So I grabbed the fusion flag and I ran out and I started waving it. And the place went nuts. I could have told them, I'm going to go home and kill your cat. And they'd have loved it because I got them so excited, right? Got them so excited by waving the fusion flag.
What's the fusion flag?
That was the name of the company. So I said, from the country of fusion, Fuxion. So I started waving that and they went nuts. It took like 4 minutes to get them all calmed down. I only had 20 minutes. So everything I said from that moment on was unbelievable. And it was doing simultaneous translation. So it was me speaking to a translator in a booth somewhere. They all had headsets on. So all of that to say, there was 8 of the top key leaders that I wound up enrolling. I enrolled the brothers, but 8 of the top key leaders from different countries were at that event, and I didn't enroll them till 7 years later. And they said, you know, when I saw you and I said I wanted to work with you, I'm like, no, when you spoke at Fusion 7 years ago. Really? Yeah, you were unforgettable. We still talk about it. So what I'm saying is that that's different than being the MC. The MC there did okay. They were good. I mean, MCs don't go to school to be MCs. They're like, okay, you're somebody that the audience likes. Let's put you up there. That's not qualifications for an MC. That's not qualifications for the velocity of words and for the presence. Because they're
I always think MCs are supposed to have a lot of energy, but I've seen some that lacked that greatly. And I don't know if that's better for the speaker that comes out, because then the speaker can up the energy. But sometimes, yeah. So I think it's just the person.
Yeah. Well, the challenge is that the MC shouldn't make the presenter have to work hard to get the energy back. Because if they can up the energy, they can take it from up and take it to great. So if they're constantly having to dig and get it out of the basement so that they can have a good presentation, that's not fair to the speaker.
Oh,
and usually MCs in network marketing get to be the MC because of their title. Because they're the only person that gets on stage. You know, they're comfortable on stage, but they suck with getting the audience riled up. They forget that they're an MC and they try to be their title, their Grand Poobah, Super Blue Diamond, or whatever. So they're up there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So what do you know me, and what would you say? Like, you know, AJ was asking about changing some of his words, and very interestingly, what you told him to change, I would have told him to change too, because when I met him in the hotel, and this was one of the first things when we were talking that he said. There was 2 things. He said, whatever. And oh, it is what it is. And I was like, okay, but I mean, I don't judge people, but I thought it's kind of like saying that it's not important, whatever we were talking about. I went, oh yeah, well, whatever. Like he uses it, I think, to get people to stop talking about whatever we're talking about because he doesn't like being in that place. Because you do stop when he says that. It's kind of like, pushing some to the side. So what would you say about me? What I shouldn't use?
Well, you don't use your German background enough. And what I mean by that is you get to say, hey, listen, one of the things, if you haven't determined from my accent, if you think I'm from Latin America, I'm not. I am born and bred German. And if you think about all of the things you think about German people, I'm most of those. But the thing I truly love the most is that I love to hear people and give them a chance to have their own success. Because Germans think Germans are these engineers and they're pushy and they're this, which you are, and I love that. But you get to disarm that and say, my goal is to help you have success. And if you're on stage, you could say, I'm a little nervous. Is it okay if I'm a little nervous? And you'll get the audience, because if you're nervous, they're nervous. And if you say you're not nervous and you are, they pick up on it and it's a lie. So I'll go out as many times as I've been on stage and I'll say, I'm a little nervous today. Could you all give me a round of applause and make me feel a little bit better? Because and so they're like, and it takes the nervousness out of the room. Because if you're a public speaker, a trained public, you're not nervous when you go on stage, right? Everybody has butterflies. We, as personally and professionally trained public speakers, we've learned how to make the butterflies fly in formation. Everybody gets them. It's a wonderful thing to have them. I get so excited when I'm in the green room. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. 4 days of, oh my gosh, just all to the wall kinds of energy and no sleep and working and meeting and running and catastrophes in the back. This is going to be fun. So when I go out, everybody's nervous when anybody new walks on stage because they have no presence with them. You can tell how big of an audience they brought with them. These leaders who go to the A&P, you can tell how big of a group they brought with them by how many audience people wind up screaming as soon as they walk on stage because they love them. And a lot of times they don't bring big groups. The ones who do bring big groups, like teams from Mexico and stuff, half the room shows up. So when I know a Mexican is showing up, when I know somebody from Spain is showing up, I'll talk in Spanish. And then I'll say, how many of you felt a little uncomfortable who didn't speak Spanish? Please be aware that we have a whole audience. Where's my Latinos? That English is a second language for them. So we need to give them a break sometimes and just speak in their mother tongue, and they go nuts. And so, of course, that's why, they all love me, because I make that a point going, en necesito hablamos español. Like, yeah. So anyway, so what I would offer you is know that you're not a professional speaker. Most people suck when they're on stage. Let them know you suck and you won't suck so much.
Well, I wasn't talking so much when I just asked you this about on stage. I was just giving this example and wanted to have some feedback in regards to just
Okay,
the
so an
catchphrase
example.
that John Maxwell uses.
So
I'm more on
your,
Zooms most of the time
okay,
with
so what's your
either one
so
person.
what do you want people to feel when you get on Zoom?
Warm and fuzzy.
Okay, so you could say, hey, listen, my name is Silke Carpenter.
Maybe that's not the right thing for business, but
No, it is. It is in network marketing, 100%.
Okay.
People don't do business. People do business with people they know, they like, they trust. That doesn't matter. It doesn't say just network marketing. That's every business. So what you could say is, hey, listen, before we get started, I just want you to know I'm Silke Carpenter, your warm and fuzzy business connection.
Does that come a little strange to men?
No, if it
They
does,
may get the wrong idea.
no, they'll only get the wrong idea when they respond. And you can say, hey, listen, warm and fuzzy means business, nothing else. Doesn't mean horseplay, doesn't mean monkey business. I'm here to do business. And that's my ultimate goal, is to make sure that when we do business together, that you feel good about it. So I might be the first German you've ever met that's warm and fuzzy.
Oh, you're so good. Can I borrow your warm and fuzzy brain?
And so the key is that, ladies, when you speak about business, speak about business. Don't leave anything to the imagination. You could say, listen, some people have referred me to as a cutthroat attorney. I'm good at business. I'm good at making sure my clients win. So I'm here for business. If there's any other kind of business you're thinking about, it's probably not going to be a fun conversation. And just be right up front. There's no reason to hide that. And I can't imagine how many times that happens to you amazing women, where you get sideswiped by that. You have to deal with that. So rather than deal with it, set right up front. Here's the rules. You do anything like, you have a conversation like that, you get deleted. If there was a way to vaporize you, I'd make sure that happens too.
Well, that's very interesting. Yes, because I always think, because I have been in trainings where they say women should never sit straight when you're having a Zoom with a man, with a male client or with a male prospect or whatever.
Mhm.
You should never sit straight forward. You should be turned to the side so they don't look at your boobs.
Well, or you can have the camera like this.
Well, in the Zoom, yes, certainly in the Zoom you can do that. But sometimes, then you look very short.
Well,
And
I'd rather them get my message than get distracted. And
yeah.
you could say, listen, if we were meeting in public, I hope I wouldn't have to say, my eyes are up here. So while we're having the Zoom, can I keep your eyes up here, please? I don't know.
Well, I know you very forward and you say things. I'm always worried that I upset people because people seem to be so so warm and fuzzy.
Well,
People seem very, very sensitive, especially in US. In some other countries.
It's okay to set your boundaries. The reason that they get upset is because it's said after the fact that they've already done something for you to have to say that. And they're like, oh crap, I knew I shouldn't have done that. So set the rules up front.
Oh, okay. So you think they get upset because they've been caught?
Yes. And they're like, they don't like to be told. And when you have your telling voice, when you are telling somebody, it is wildly powerful. It is strong when you have to reprimand somebody. So rather than reprimand, say, listen, I wish my mom did this. She gave me the rules before we went out, because I would usually get in trouble. So here's the rules. I'm a powerful, strong German. My goal is to be warm and fuzzy today. But if something happens, if you don't follow the rules, you're going to see a side of Germany that maybe you remember.
My God. Oh my God, that you are so funny. You are so funny, so people laugh.
Yes. And that's 100% correct. I will reprimand through laughter, and somebody's like, oh, thank God I didn't do that. Okay, great. All right. And it sets the stage. The challenge with most people who don't like public speaking or presenting or talking about their products is because they never set the stage, and it winds up getting lost. They wind up getting stuck in the muck and the mud of somebody else's opinions. You can have your opinions. Here's the rules. You want to have your opinions? Make sure you hit the red end button before you start sharing your opinions. They don't matter here. Your concerns, yes. Opinions, not so much. I don't need opinions.
Well, I have seen it where the prospect takes over the presentation and starts giving the presentation. Not in mine, but I have seen it with others.
Sure.
And I'm like, what's going on here? I mean,
yep.
So you set the stage before you even start.
You come into my house is built before you ever show up, and here's the rules of coming to my house. It's very simple. You don't like those rules, don't come to the house.
Then you tell them they can leave if they
Oh.
don't like.
Listen, you have an option. You can either leave or I kick you out.
Wow.
Back when Zoom was first getting started and they called them Zoom bombers, there was people that would come on that would show up in my Zooms, which is why I went to a password, right? You guys can come into the Zoom room and it opens up. So at some point, there's going to be a name I don't recognize, and I will ask, does anybody know this person? And if not, they get kicked out right away.
Oh, this is very funny. I just remembered this. I was talking to somebody yesterday. This is years ago before, I think Zoom didn't have the waiting rooms.
Right.
So there was no waiting room set up. So I was giving a presentation and suddenly this huge lips appeared and just screaming and flapping, literally flapping the lips.
Yep.
I think Jane might remember that. She was in that room, I think. And I mean it, and then I tried to get him out. I tried to mute him. I kick him out and he come right back and he screamed obscenities and he had huge lips and they were just flapping.
Yep.
So it was so weird. And I was like, oh my God, like took me 3 or 4 times to finally kick him back out because there was no way. Yes, like you say, there was no way to keep them out. Now you can just put them in the waiting room and they're just going to stay in there and they can flap their lips all they want in there.
Yep.
But that was really weird and creepy. Yes, but that's the only time it happened. But I remember during COVID, people said lots of times weird people would come in like naked and all kinds of things. So yes,
I had it all.
No way, you have?
Yep.
Or they forget that their camera is on. They go to the bathroom or something. Yes.
Yep.
But yeah, that was the worst I have ever seen. So I experience, I can still feel my anxiety because there were a lot of prospects and things on that call. And
Yep.
can you imagine?
Yep.
Some crazy
those were the wild west days of Zoom.
Yes, so now no mass of that. But
Right.
sometimes still, if you put out the Zoom link for a large amount of people, you still don't know because you're gonna let them in. You
Yep.
still don't know what kind of crazy is in there.
No.
All right, well, I'm gonna try the warm and fuzzy thing today.
Yeah, try it. And again, practice it a couple of times beforehand and say, listen, if that didn't even sound right, it's because I'm German. I'm working on warm and fuzzy.
Yes, because I'm more straightforward.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's another fun day. Tomorrow, no Saturday. We've got some things going on here at the ranch that we've got to attend to. So you get the weekend off. Work on your DMP, work on your DMS, your definite major signal, and spend some time. Just don't take that time. Spend 20 minutes where you normally spend an hour, 90 minutes. Spend 20 minutes working on you, writing out your journal, doing the things. Could be at the same time, could be at another time. But I'm going to encourage you, take some time to sharpen your saw. I'm your head brain training, brain scrambling. Your presence moves the message misfit. I'll see y'all where?
At the next
event.
Next event.
Thanks, everybody. Somebody give me some Costa Rica.
Pura vida.
Ida, we love you, Mark. And some Lydias.
Peace be with us.
Peace be with us.
And the queen of helping you find your presence before you speak, Jessie Lee Ward.
Boss
Sweet.
lady.
We love you, girl. Little white, fluffy.
Gurgly, gurgly,
Gurgly,
gurgly.
gurgly.
Gurgly, we love you. All right, Fee, everybody, go have some fun today. We'll see you all on Monday. Till then, bye for now.
See y'all. Take care.
Thank you, Sean. Love you all. Have a